This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and in this video we're going to check out the Pioneer Safari Sling, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So the primary material we're working with here is Pioneer's Mandarin 840. So it is a ballistic nylon. It is very durable, and it is Pioneer. So I was kind of expecting that. I don't think I've tested any of their slings. I have tested some of their wallets, and they're all very durable. They use very heavy materials, and that's true on this sling as well. But the material actually isn't that heavy. It's just very durable and pretty thick, and it's not, I don't know, it's not like too much. Like you can still like move it around, and it's fairly malleable, which I do like for a sling this size, because then I can pack it away, even fit this in my pocket when I'm not using it if I want to. And it has a DWR coating or some kind of coating on it as well. So I was walking in light rain and it kept my gear dry. If it's gonna start like raining, I would probably get it out. I mean, this zipper here, which is from YKK, it does have, I mean, you can't really see like the holes, but water will get in there if there is enough water in the area. So I do like the zippers because there are two, so you can leave it on either side. So whichever way you're wearing it, whether you're wearing it on this side or that side, you can kind of leave the zippers on the side. That gives you better access to it. So, and they're pretty easy to open and just leave them wherever you want to. They are a little bit jangly, not too much so, because it is some kind of like a powder coated metal there, so it's not as jangly as sometimes they can be. But it is a little bit noisy if you are prone to, not liking that. So there isn't a ton going on the sling. I should mention that we do have metal on the adjusters as well. So I do like these. They're not, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say they're just different than when they're plastic. Like obviously you can see that this just kind of goes through there a lot more freely, which isn't really a problem for me. But if, I don't know, if when you pick it up sometimes it'll be like off and you just kind of have to fix it, but that's not really a big problem for me personally. I'm curious how this coating will fare over time, just with like the bumps and knocks of travel. I've been testing for 2 weeks and it hasn't gotten scratched or anything like that, so it is holding up pretty well. Moving back to the front side, we have this basically straps that go all the way around the pack, and you have 3 areas here. You have this front one here, you have this bottom one down here, and then an area on the back. So you can attach different things there, like a carabiner. I would have one of the JBL clip speakers, and I just attached it on the bottom so I had it handy. Or you can just leave it. It kind of adds structure to the pack. So I think without these, this material wouldn't hold up as well under its own weight. But I like the look of these. It does look a little bit, especially this multicam colorway, looks a little more tactical with them on there. The black colorway, not so much, because it just blends in a little bit. But overall, pretty happy with how this thing has held up. The materials are very durable. It's kind of what we expect from Pioneer. Nothing that really stands out that's out of the ordinary or bad, so pretty happy with that. So we just spent a lot of time going over the front of the sling, and now we're going to talk about the harness system, which is pretty much the same because it's a very similar design. As you can see, the straps are a little bit wider on this side, but there really is no back panel here. I can just kind of move this material around pretty easily. So whatever you stow in the back portion of the main compartment is kind of becoming the structure of your back panel. So I have a phone back here right now, so it kind of makes a nice flat surface, but if you were to stow something that wasn't flat or was kind of like oddly shaped, this would probably not be as comfortable or uniform on the back panel. So just keep that in mind when you're packing this thing out, that whatever you stow back here is going to be just what is pushing up against you all the time. So one thing to note is that if you were to wear this without a shirt or like with a very thin tank top or something like that, we were at a beach and I just had this for a little bit while we basically walked from the parking lot to the beach and had this on. And this was a little bit uncomfortable, but that's really only if you're wearing it with something super thin or without a shirt on, which probably isn't for a camo sling, probably not something you're going to be doing, but it obviously is possible. So that is something that you should think about when you're deciding to get this sling or not. This material here is actually pretty soft, so this was not a problem. It's just the straps there. But when it comes to the strap itself, it is pretty thin. There's no padding, no aeration or anything like that, but this is a very small sling, so I don't know, I didn't really expect there to be padding or aeration. It is pretty thin though, so if you were to load this up with like tech or something like that, it might dig in a little bit. I should also note that this version does not have a removable strap, but some of the colorways do. I wish this one did, just makes it kind of convenient for like swapping it out or just using this kind of as a pouch, but there are colorways that have the removable strap. So keep that in mind. If you want something with a removable strap, make sure you get one of the colorways that have it. They have it noted on their website. If you find this video helpful, make sure you throw a like on the video, drop a comment down below about what you would use this sling for, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. So this is how I typically wore it when I was just walking around the city. If I was cycling, I would tighten it up a little bit just so it couldn't move as freely like this, but that's not a huge deal, and I feel like I think I'm a faster cycler than I am, so it probably didn't actually matter that much. I should have tried it without tightening it up. it probably would not have moved that much. So it is pretty easy to jump from front carry to back carry. Sorry if I hit the mic while I'm doing this transition. So now I have it on back carry. I did notice that in back carry, it didn't move around as much, and maybe it's just how I walk. Sorry if I hit the mic again. When it's in the front carry, it kind of tends to slide down here, which is not really where I want it to be because it's just kind of hitting my arm. Whereas when I had it on back carry, I'll switch it around again. It kind of tended to sit on my back, and maybe that's just how my body is. But that's just, I guess, something to think about when you're wearing this thing. But overall, a pretty comfortable experience, other than if you're wearing a thin shirt, it might dig in a little bit here, and you might feel these straps a little bit on the back panel. So before diving into the Sling, I should mention that there is no capacity listed on their site. I actually reached out to the customer service, and they just gave me the dimensions back again. So I was not able to figure out what exactly the capacity of the Sling is. If you do the math on the dimensions of the outside of the Sling, it's 1.34 liters. So I'm going to guess that with all of the materials and stuff like that, you're looking at a half to maybe 0.75 liters, maybe a liter at the most. So this is a very small Sling, just one compartment. This is definitely a Sling where you're just putting what's in your pockets, typically inside of here, to make more room in your pockets or to make your pockets just less full. So a lot of times when you're traveling, you have a bunch of stuff in your pockets and it's not very comfortable. You can throw all of that inside of here, and I'm going to show you how you can do that. So I don't have a ton of gear inside of here right now. This is just kind of what I've been wearing around the city and what I'd probably typically have among a few other things while I am traveling. So I've got my phone stowed inside the back pocket right now, iPhone 11 with a case. So Pioneer's wallets typically use materials more like this all throughout. So having tested their wallets, I am kind of used to seeing this material. It's very durable and just very thick and probably pretty water resistant as well, but that's really the only place that it's used in the entire Sling. You see there's regular liner materials everywhere else. There's not a ton of padding here, which I wish there was some more padding there because this is where I like to stow my phone. You have an okay amount of padding from the materials on this side, but not great either. I never had a problem. It's going to be resting against your body, but just something to think about when you're stowing gear inside of here. So if you have not seen more gear from Pioneer, this is what a lot of their wallets and stuff like that are made of. So in the middle section here, I just have my wallets, chum surf shorts. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know how much I like this wallet. Fits nicely in the middle. There is more room inside of there. I probably could have fit quite a bit more gear inside of there, but because I use the chum surf shorts wallet and my keys are attached to my wallet, I did not need to use the key leash. This is a unique key leash because it does not have a jump ring or a clip. It just has a button, which I think is very aesthetically pleasing. It's actually very easy to use. It's just maybe not, you probably can't fit as many, like you couldn't just put like a key on here because it's not going to fit through the eye of the key. So if you just have like a very minimalistic setup and you have a very small window for what you can put through the ring of your key, this might not work for you. But I do like it in theory. For most keys, it is going to work. If you have a bigger jump ring, you can just put this through the jump ring. And I did test, I have like a big set of keys at home for our house. And I put those on there and it did not come off while I was in testing. So, and that's like, I want to say there's like 12 or 15 keys on there. So it did a pretty good job. On the front side right here, we do have a zippered compartment, which I do like. This is a very small Sling, but even in a small Sling, there's like some nooks and crannies down here in the bottom. So if you have like a micro SD card or you're transporting like a SIM card in one of the little SIM holders and you put it in there, it might be kind of hard to find it, but if you put it inside this front pocket, it's just a little bit easier to get to. So I just have my corded headphones stowed inside of there. Yes, still using corded headphones in 2025. I will probably use these until they die and then buy another pair on eBay because I really love my corded headphones. So no organization or anything inside of there, just a nice little pocket. And I know that it is a pretty big, it almost takes up the whole front face of the pack. It's just easier because there's really only two corners that it can get shoved in. Whereas if it was in the main compartment here, it could be in either of these two corners, or just anywhere around in the area because there are like, you know, where it's like stitched and stuff like that in the bottom. So it is easier to find things inside of here. Just nice to have a place to lock down smaller gear inside of this pretty small Sling. But overall, pretty happy with what I could fit inside of here. I could, as I said, pretty much everything that I typically have in my pockets when I'm walking around will fit inside of there. I often walk with a pocket knife as well, so I was able to leave that in my pocket and literally just have my pocket knife and maybe like a snack or something like that in my regular pocket in case I get hungry, and then everything else went inside of here. I was able to, when I was walking around, also fit my Instax Mini inside of here. It's probably going to depend on which Instax Mini you have. I was able to fit an Instax Mini and a a pack of film. So I had a pack of film in the camera, a pack of film, so 2 packs in total. And then I was able to stow the photos afterwards in the back here, so that way they're fairly flat because they're resting up against me, or I could probably put them in the zipper compartment, but I was just being lazy, so that's actually probably a better place to stow them. But again, overall, very happy with what I was able to stow inside of here. It's not going to work for everyone just because it is pretty small. It's not super packable. I mean, you can wrap it up pretty small, but it's not a packable Sling by any means, especially for the size. You're going to get something more packable that has a higher capacity. But for just walking around or just getting a Sling that you can use pretty much anywhere. I'm pretty happy with it. So there you have it, the Pioneer Safari Sling. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.